update with
Life
Dylan.
update. Yeah, how we doing? So welcome to our shop. We're down here in Southern California. This is Costa Mesa specifically. This is our shop. This is our home base. So this is where the magic happens, as they say. So all of our cars here are built and maintained. All the fabrication, all the welding, all the wiring, all that everything happens right in this little area. So got our lineup of cars, our quiver of vehicles. So we got our 24 Hours of Lemons car. It's a K24 swap Mini Cooper. We've been having a lot of fun doing the Lemons racing. We've done it a couple of times now, and this is kind of the most recent rendition of this car. Got plenty of battle scars from from Lemons racing. Obviously, some contact. Actually, looks like a drift car.
Dude, I want to drive. I want to drive this.
Dude, you should. I mean, so what's funny is like I put the big steering wheel on it. I stole the steering wheel out of the NASCAR because it doesn't have power steering, and so like the whole time you're like wrestling it. So like an hour stint in the car is like plenty long enough.
Oh my goodness. Oh, trust me, I know. I had a chance to do a 14-hour race in a Mini Cooper, and let me tell you, after a 2-hour stint, even though we had power steering, I still feel like I couldn't move my arms afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot, because it literally takes all of your focus not to crash.
Yeah, the entire time. And 2 hours of 100% concentration that's a long time, right? Like even when you're just kind of like mindlessly driving on the road, you're tired when you get out and you're not going 10 tenths the entire time. So love this little guy.
So one of the things that I really like about seeing all these cars and your builds, I've had a chance to be a part of some of them in terms of showing the world what it's about, but also following along as you're using them. But it also makes me happy that there's some that I don't really know so much about. Like for example, this one. Can we take a look at the engine?
Yeah, of course. Nothing too crazy, but of course we got the Link ECU goodies on it to make sure that Honda motor's running good. This is a stock Japanese imported RBB4 K24. We did the K20 oil pump in it, so it rattles like crazy. But man, I got big respect for these motors, man. We ran this thing hard.
So why this versus running the stock Mini motor?
We thought it would be cooler just to get a Japanese one, get an imported one, just because. That's really it. We just hit up a local importer and we got it from them, and it was one of the higher output ones.
It makes more power than what it came with too, also.
I think a little bit, and I think a lot of that has to do with the ECU setup that's on it, like being able to adjust the timing and to be able to add fuel where we need it, because it is on a full standalone Link ECU.
Right, but I'm saying compared to what came in the Mini originally.
Oh, what came in the Mini? Oh my gosh, yeah, that thing was a dog, man. Well, first off, it was an automatic, so we actually did our first Lemons race as an automatic, which was horrendous. It was still fun, but yeah, this thing, it rips, man. 7,500 RPM. I think it did 215 to the wheels, whereas the stock Mini was only like, they claimed 170 or whatever. So yeah, this little thing gets down.
So we'll move on to your demonstration car.
Yeah.
Or this is like, I guess your local car or whatever you take to events like Grid Life.
Yeah, exactly. So this actually, I have, this car has a lot of history behind it. I bought this from a friend up in Washington State, and when I moved to California in 2017 or 18, I drove this car down from Washington. And then over COVID, we did turbo the daily, so I turboed the stock 2.5, and then I caged it over COVID. And it's been through a couple different changes, but still a factory engine harness. So this is an OBD1 car, standalone Link ECU, bone stock cooling system, stock fan, stock accessories, literally almost completely stock everything, bottom mount turbo. And then if I'm gonna go and run Grid Life, this is my Grid Life car. And then if we're gonna do any kind of competition, like say like a Hot Pit or LZ World Tour, I send this car. But 515 to the wheels, Andrews 4-speed transmission, so same transits in the race car, quick change diff. We spent the money where it mattered,
It's cool because at this point, you're driving so much, you need a spare car for other things, because especially with your pro car in Formula Drift, it's out on the road.
Yeah.
And there's so many other events to drive. Like, it's nice to have something like this.
For sure. Well, when the car goes out on its East Coast swing, we kind of do like basically a 4-month lap around the country. And as that happens, obviously the truck, trailer, and cars, the race car is gone. So we need another car, and that's where this thing kind of comes into play. And this is, for whatever reason, my favorite car of all time. I swear I like this thing more even than the race car. And the race car is gnarly in its own regard. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but I think that the reason why I love this one so much is because it's only used for good times only, right? The pressure of competition it's stressful. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, like FD can be stressful and it can, but every time that this car comes out, we're guaranteed to have fun,
Yeah. I'm sorry for spinning out in front of you when you were trying to follow me at Fuel Fest.
Fuel Fest, no.
I apologize,
Hey.
but I'm so glad I had a chance to tandem with this car. That was so cool. That was a lot of fun.
That was super fun.
Yeah.
But hey, no harm, no foul, dude. It's all good.
Let's talk about your wagon. This thing is so sick. It's like backwards world. We have the BMW wagon with a Mercedes diesel. I love this thing so much. I wish you would drive this more.
You know, I honestly wish I would drive it more as well. The biggest thing with this engine is the OM606 being a pre-chamber engine. It basically, the way that it injects the fuel into the cylinder head and ignites it, it superheats the cylinder head in the block. So probably not exactly ideal for a drifting scenario. So it gets biblically hot really quick, and we have some of the nicest cooling system, honestly, that exists. The PWR radiator is fantastic. So having a little bit of issues keeping it cool, but at the end of the day, man, this car went to Japan. Larry got it on the cover of a magazine for us. A lot of really cool history with this car, and we love it, but I think we're about ready for a change. I want to be able to utilize it more, and I think being able to utilize it as a road course car, doing some grid life events with it, and just putting 4 people in it, just going to have some fun. So we have a JZ that we're going to put in it, and waiting on some electronics right now for it, but I think it's gonna be really cool.
Jay-Z would be so sick in this.
It wouldn't do the black smoke anymore, which makes me a little bit sad, but I think that if we're gonna continue down the diesel route, we gotta hit up the black smoke racing guys, and we gotta do an OM648, put an ECU on it and do it proper. But I have so many Jay-Z's laying around, I know them inside and out. I think it just makes sense.
Yeah, and it being a drift wagon is just so different. I think it's super cool. I love that.
And what's funny is actually, I saw LZ was driving FDF Josiah's just this last weekend at Grid Life, and he's like, yeah, if you closed your eyes and got in the car, went and drove it, you wouldn't know that it's a wagon. It drives very similar to, you know, the FD car or an E46 in general. So, but that's what's cool is, what's actually really funny is you're sitting so far forward in it that when I get out of it, I'm like, oh, I wasn't really like transitioning super hard. But I think it's because I'm literally like 1.5 feet further forward, so you don't get that like whipping sensation on your transition. So I get out and I watch a video clip, I'm like, oh, I'm killing it. Like, what am I talking about? It's just physically you're in a different spot while you're driving. So it's definitely different, but this car is awesome.
Is this an upcoming build?
Yeah, so this is a E46 M3 chassis that we acquired. You know, with the current level of Formula Drift competition these days, it only makes sense to try and like have another car just in case, right? I guess we could always like throw the 2J in the E36 if we had to, but we're gonna plan on making this one into another FD car. This one has been, you know what, we've been on this car for 6 years now. It's got a lot of bumps and bruises. So yeah, we acquired another one.
It's not tired per se, but it's had quite a few hard hits.
Oh, it's seen battle. We'll just say that. But you know, and part of me is like, I'm such a perfectionist with all my cars that part of me is like, why am I going to sacrifice this car? I might as well just beat this thing into a raisin. You know what I mean? Which it's well on its way. But yeah, we got to have another one. So
then this is pretty much the evolution, right? Because while you're building this, you can still drive that. And then eventually you potentially could switch over completely.
For sure. And if we do it right, nobody would really know, right? Obviously we want to like publicize the build and everything, but you know, it'll kind of just be like cookie cutter. Like we have the combination, right? 2JZ, the trans, the diff, you know, we have that combination dialed. It's just putting the time in, and you know, I do all my own fabrication, I do all my own welding, all my own tube bending and all that. So I got to put the time into it, which is fine because I love having a project.
Does it make a difference that this is starting with an M3 chassis versus just a regular 3 Series?
To be honest with you, no. That car, my actual FD car, is a non-M chassis. That's a 325 CI chassis, 2005. And really the biggest thing with the M chassis is we don't even run any of the stuff that makes it an M, right? Like the trailing arms we swap out for the FDF ones. I guess the steering rack, you know, it's got like the extra little bubbles on the fender flares, but like we run a wide body kit anyway, Street Fighter LA kit. So literally everything that makes it an M, we don't even use, so it really doesn't matter. So it's almost blasphemy to destroy an M. As I wipe the tear away.
So does this not have a motor or anything?
Yeah, no motor. Yeah, just
right.
I mean, literally, we got it as a roller. I like drug it into the trailer, and
let's be honest, you're saving this car.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but like, dude, look at how clean it is. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, let's talk about the 2JZ NASCAR.
2JZ NASCAR, yes, sir. So basically a publicity stunt. First off, we acquired this NASCAR. We took it to the drag strip, and we had Ryan Turk, myself, and Chris Forsberg all jump in it and go and do a drag pass in it. And it ended up kicking a rod through the block. So basically, as like kind of a joke afterwards, I'm like, hey, we should put a 2JZ in this thing, put a Japanese turbo motor in like the most America car you could possibly think of. And so we did it. And this has been through a couple renditions, had a couple different motors in it. We started off with one of Turk's motors, ended up hurting that one. So this is currently basically the identical motor that's in my competition car with a little bit older Garrett turbo on it, but still the same combo, link ECU, dog box trans. This one actually has a solid axle in the rear, 9-inch ring and pinion in it, which is typical for NASCAR stuff, but yeah, this thing is too fun. It is too fun. We've taken this thing to Willow Springs, Button Willow. We've had some really fun track days in it, and it is horrendously fast, man. It makes like 850 horsepower, so like it's a sprint car because it does get it does warm itself up. It kind of gets hot. Like it's not an endurance car by any means, but man, for a couple laps, this thing is rowdy.
So what do you actually use this for?
Just publicity.
Just time attack or?
Not even. We just take it to the track and have fun with it and film videos with it and do burnouts with it. And we did a couple Hoonigan episodes where we did the drag race with it. Basically just an internet car, man. Just something to piss the internet off, basically.
There you go.
Yeah.
This motorcycle, oh my God. When you were doing this campaign, I seriously was just following the updates, refreshing, just really trying to keep up with it because just thinking about it, hair raising.
Yeah, even just like remembering back on it, like makes the hair on my arm stand up. This one was pretty rowdy, but honestly, this was 14 years in the making. And I say that because this all originated when me and my dad went to Moab, Utah in 2010, right when I graduated high school. We went by the Bonneville Salt Flats and we saw Malcolm Smith's son ride a Gixxer 1000 and almost hit 200. And me and him swore right then and there that we were going to come back to the Bonneville Salt Flats and we were going to try and run 200 on a motorcycle. So it took us until 2024 to make it happen. So 14 years in the making. This originally started, we bought the bike in 2021, brand new Kawasaki ZH2. It's a supercharged 1000. Took it to Bonneville in 2021 after we did the AirTech Streamline body kit on it. And we did 191 mile an hour average. So our goal was 200. We had to hit the 200. So then fast forward a little bit, we tune it, we delete some of the safety stuff off of it. The event gets rained out in 22, the event gets rained out in 23, and then finally we're able to go back in 2024 right before Formula Drift Utah. And we go out there and I did a 202.243 mile an hour average over a mile. And let me tell you, that was probably the rowdiest thing I've ever done. Like it was over 20 seconds of 200. So some people say, oh, going 200 on a bike's not that bad. Okay, I could see that. On the street, on a very planted, smooth surface, the Bonneville Salt Flats is not flat. It's very rough. The salt is constantly heaving as it dries. So there's bumps and like, let me tell you, after we did this, because we did our 200 mile an hour pass at 8 o'clock in the morning. So we roll out there, no coffee on that day. I didn't need it. We roll out there, hold this thing on the throttle stop for almost 3 miles. And at this point I'm 2.5 miles away from the pits, and then I just roll up to the timing tower, and they got some gal out there and she writes 202 on a piece of paper, and I was like, oh my God, we did it. Because I don't have any speed reference. I don't have a speedo.
So then you have to do it twice? You have to back it up?
So the twice is only for a record. So we weren't going for a record in the MPSBF class. So we only did it once. That was plenty enough for me. I didn't feel the need to do it again. The conditions were also deteriorating a little bit. That's why we got there so early. We just wanted to get there in the morning and get it done. So, but what's crazy is every single bolt on the body kit was loose after we pulled to the end. And you're talking, around a minute of runtime. The salt is so rough that every single bolt on the body kit was loose. And that's why the exhaust ended up burning it like that, because I think that some of the air slipped around my foot and started coming into here and kind of parachuted the back of the bike, and then the exhaust ended up burning all the fiberglass like that, and I think that it looks cool, so we just left it.
That's one of the things that's lost on a lot of people. They look at it and they think it's dry. The salt is always wet.
Yeah, a little bit.
It is always damp. It's like pulling moisture out of the air almost. Also, there's really no traction on it at all.
Yeah.
Like I've gotten stuck out there a couple
so
times.
You know exactly what it's like.
I know what it's like. And legitimately, it like you said, it is so bumpy. I cannot believe that you guys are going that fast on a bike. Like on a car, I get it. And especially if it's like a Streamliner or something that was meant to go that fast, not something that was meant to be a street vehicle that's that's modified. The control and the micro movements, I'm sure you were still steering.
Oh, it's kind of like, you know, when you're like balancing on like a medicine ball, they have those things at the gym. It's like trying to stay on top of this like moving object, right? You're like trying to balance on top of a ball. And speaking of the traction, like anything below 160 miles an hour, it would just blow the tire off it. Like you could feel it slipping, so you'd have to like manage the throttle all the way up, and then about 160 you could finally roll on it and give it the beans. And then same thing on the back end. The engine's at 12,000 RPM. You can't just chop the throttle on the backside, it's gonna skid. Yeah. So everything you do, you roll on gentle and you're trying to like balance on top of this like pinhead basically, and then at the other side, you roll off slow.
So you don't need parachutes then?
No, not at this event. And what's crazy though is like as soon as you roll off of the throttle, it feels like there's a parachute behind you. Like the bike, you are forcing it to go that fast. The amount of wind resistance at that speed is unbelievable. Like what's crazy is I'm literally laying on top of the engine and I can't hear the motor. So like as I'm running down, I wasn't sure if the bike was geared long enough. So like I have my chin resting on the screen and I'm trying to focus my eyes on the screen so I can see the RPM to see if it's bouncing the rev limiter, because there's so much wind, I can't hear the engine. That's what's really crazy about it. I'm just like in my little bubble trying to be aero and you cannot hear the motor. It's crazy. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know, out of all the projects that you do, out of all the driving, I look at it, I'm like, oh, that looks fun. This, not fun. That's out. I'm out on that.
You're like, you can have that one. That's all you. Yeah. And that's you know, that's why we were like, I don't need to do it twice, right? My goal was 200. We did the goal. We're in one piece, and we'll call it good. Yeah. What would be really cool though, what we're aiming to do next year, we already did it on 2 wheels. That's hard. I think we got to try and go back and do it on 4 wheels.
Oh.
So in this car, like I don't think it's that big of a deal to go 200 miles an hour in a NASCAR, right? They do it all the time. So it'd be pretty cool to take the 2JZ NASCAR and see if we can't go like 2 1/4. Maybe we take it to El Mirage, so we don't have to worry about getting the salt on the chassis and kind of destroying it a little bit, because the salt is rough on your equipment. So it'd be cool to go to El Mirage and see if we can't go, you know, 210, 220 would be sick. Yeah. And like I say, with age comes a cage, so.
Heck, go 250.
Go 250, right? Yeah, whatever. Like you got tubes around you, whereas this thing, you don't even have a seatbelt. You're just holding on for dear life.
That's crazy. All right, let's talk about your pro car a little bit. I don't know if there's any like evolution since we last had a chance to look at it. I think the last time we looked at it, it wasn't together yet. It was like pretty close to being completely together.
I'm trying to think of when that was.
I think it was right before you ran it, and also it was around the time you were developing this. Because I think you were going, I think it was the start of you using the 2J.
Yeah, right. So we debuted this car in 2020. Yeah, and we've had a bunch of stuff to it since then. You know, different shocks, different turbos, different motors, transmissions, and I mean pretty much everything. But this is our latest rendition of the competition FD car. Stock crank 3 liter, obviously forged internals, super tech everything in the cylinder head. Garrett G40 1150, running 30 pounds of boost, so it makes right at 950 of the tire. This is probably the newest thing that we did. We switched over to a cable throttle body. We were on the e-throttle for years, and it finally just let us down one too many times. And so we flew out early after New Jersey, in between New Jersey and St. Louis, and I welded a new flange on and added, you know, the bracket, and we added an idler control valve back here so that I can have my high idle. And I cannot drift without my high idle in this thing.
This is just so rough, just knowing what you had to go through to get to this point. You worked so hard to get to that point, right?
Sure, of course.
In the battles, I've said this before, it's just 5 battles. You got to win 5 battles to win the event. You're moving along, and then it fails on you.
It fails on you, and we're having some really weird issues with losing connect from the throttle body to the ECU. So basically, it would just shut off mid-run. So I would just transition, put my foot to the floor, and the car would go straight to idle. I'd lose my high idle, and it would just go to idle, and I have nothing. And in that scenario, you know, I mean, you guys have seen Formula Drift. It's door to door. You are fully committed behind the other car. So if I'm out in the front and this thing shuts off, car's gonna hit me, we're both gonna go into the wall, we're gonna crash both of our cars. So that's why we opted to bow out against Osbo in the 16. We had a sick battle with Jack Shanahan in the 32 in New Jersey. Super proud to get the win on that one, and honestly, I felt like I was on fire. Like, I felt like that was one of the days where, like, you know when you're on, you know that feeling when you're on. I was ready to take the whole thing, but you know, you need a pro drift car to go pro drifting, and if your pro drift car doesn't work, then You're just a dude standing there with a monkey suit on, you know?
That's a bummer.
But hey, that's okay. That's racing though, right? Everybody has, it's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Everybody has ups and downs. And now we came back in, we put the time and the money in, and we went and ran St. Louis and we got 4th place.
So what's the high idle thing? Is it so it doesn't die in between?
So the way that I like it is I set my high idle at 3,000 RPM. And the reason for that is if you have a turbo car with a relatively low displacement, 3 liter, right? If it's at idle, say 1,100, 1,200 RPM, and you put your foot to the floor, it has this like, and then it kind of takes off. What that idle does is it eliminates that momentary bog. So say if I flick in behind somebody and I have to go clutch in, handbrake, right foot on the foot brake, and then I need to go back to the throttle, now I don't have to wait, because now the engine RPM is 200 RPM off the nitrous window. So the second that I put my little pinky toe on that throttle, it hits the nitrous and it instantly lights the turbo and it instantly goes up into boost. So basically there's no lag whatsoever if you have the high idle match with the nitrous. So that's why I do that.
It's amazing to me how much this is Formula Drift as a sport has evolved to almost like be not drifting.
It's sideways drag racing.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. I mean, like you could drift pretty much any rear-wheel drive car, and it's drifting.
Yeah.
You know, you're sliding around, doing donuts or whatever. This is just beyond that. It's just so crazy.
It's rowdy, dude. It's rowdy. And then we go to Orlando and we just get waxed by a 15-year-old. Like, dude, the kid is sick. Hiro Manoa, big shout out to that kid. He's sick. But the level now is pretty insane. We all have big sticky tires on our cars. Everybody makes 1,000. Everybody's pretty reliable and everybody's good, man. It's crazy. It really is crazy. I wish everybody could experience riding in this car, because you get out and you're just like, whoa, what just happened? Like, you have to be so far ahead of these cars because they make so much power. You just need to be looking so far ahead because it's like, boom, all of a sudden you're doing 100 and you're like, uh-oh, you know?
It's amazing.
Love it. So yeah, this thing's been great to us. So we're headed up to Seattle in 1 week's time. We're gonna go up there for our 6th round of the year. Always looking forward to going up to Seattle. I love it up there. It's my home track. So I grew up 45 minutes away from there. So fired up.
Was that where you got your first podium?
My first podium in Pro 2, yeah, and technically driving for Formula Drift, it was my first podium. And everybody's like, oh, it's your home track. But what's funny is I moved to the East Coast to work for Forsberg before I ever drove that track. So technically it's my home track, but I never drove it until I was technically a pro. So yeah, we showed up, we qualified 3rd and then finished 2nd overall at my very first Formula Drift event. And I was like, okay, like, I think we got something here. And that's kind of where it all, you know, the belief in myself. I'm like, all right, we're going to show up and see what we got.
What a lot of people don't realize, you have so many new fans. They have no idea that you were a mechanic for Chris Forsberg.
Yeah, I was a mechanic for Forsberg from 2014 to around that 2018 mark, where I was kind of playing double duty. I was working for Forsberg on pro days, and then he was actually spotting for me on my pro spec. It was Pro 2 at the time, but our pro spec weekends. So huge shout out to Chris Forsberg. I would not be standing right here if it was not for him.
And then I think the story goes, you just asked him, right? You just went up to him and like, hey, can I work for you? Like,
so the way that it worked out, so I worked at a place called Dirtfish Rally School in 2013. I ended up traveling. Dirtfish sponsored a Red Bull Dodge Rallycross team that was driven by Travis Pastrana and Bryce Menzies. So I was working on that team that year in 2013. I just turned 21. And third time we were in Vegas that year was actually SEMA, before I knew what SEMA was. And we were out there for a rallycross race, and one of our mechanics got sick. So the guy who managed the Red Bull Dodge team used to manage Forsberg. So the guy named Blair calls Forsberg and he's like, hey, we need a mechanic. Are you here? He's like, yep. Brian Wilkerson shows up, who's Chris Forsberg's crew chief, owner of MA Motorsports. So Brian shows up, oh, hey, I'm Dylan, hey, I'm Brian. I'm like, well, what do you do? He's like, I'm Chris Forsberg's crew chief. You know what drifting is? And I'm like V8 swapping my 240, massive Forsberg and Turk fan at the time. I'm like, oh my God, like, no way. So that weekend we went down to Fremont Street. I met Vaughn, Chris, and Turk because of Brian that day. And I harassed Brian all weekend. I was like, yo, if you need help on the drift team next year, let me know. Let me know. He's like, all right, I'll put in a good word with Chris for you. Because I knew Chris wouldn't remember me from the bar, you know? And literally one day I get a call from a Pennsylvania number. Hello? Hey, is this Dylan? Yeah, this is Chris Forsberg. Brian says you're cool. You want to work on the team? And I'm just like almost pass out. You know what I mean? So, and then that's literally, so he bought me a plane ticket. I flew down to Long Beach and we instantly connected. And that's kind of where that started from. So just a right place, right time, you know, just crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
What a great story.
That's where it all started. But yeah, Brian Wilkerson.
Dude, thanks for showing us your shop.
Yeah,
I've been
absolutely.
meaning to come down here and see what you guys are up to.
Absolutely. We appreciate you. And yeah, check out Larry's new book. Ooh. Ooh.